She said she needed a break, then texted she was pregnant with someone else's baby, and I refused to carry her lie. Hi, I'm Alex, 31, and last month my life detonated over 2 text messages sent 3 minutes apart. It was 3:42 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was at my desk, half listening to a meeting I shouldn't have been in, pretending to care about quarterly projections. My phone buzzed. Her name, Megan. My girlfriend of almost 3 years. She was 26. We didn't live together, but she basically had a drawer, a charger, and a toothbrush at my place. We talked about moving in. After summer. Normal future talk. Or so I thought. The first message. Hey, we need to talk. I think I need a break to figure some things out. I just need space right now. That sinking feeling? Immediate. But here's the thing, I wasn't blindsided. She'd been distant for about a month. Always on her phone. Suddenly very busy. Girls' nights turning into all nights. Coming home late. Laughing at texts she wouldn't explain. Classic signs. I just chose denial. I stared at the message for a solid minute. Coworker asked if I was okay. I said, yeah. Just relationship stuff. Like that meant anything. I typed back. Okay. Take the time you need. No arguing. No begging. If she wanted space, she could have it. I hit send and leaned back in my chair, already bracing myself for the slow fade breakup. Then my phone buzzed again. 3 minutes later. Second message. Also, I'm pregnant. It's not yours. I've been seeing someone else. I'm really sorry, but you deserve to know. I didn't move. Didn't blink. Didn't breathe for a second. My brain just shut everything down. No yelling. No tears. No rage. Just cold clarity. Pregnant. Not mine. Cheating. I read it again. And again. Like maybe the words would rearrange themselves into something less catastrophic. They didn't. Something in me flipped from boyfriend to survival mode. I took a screenshot. Both messages. Timestamps clear. Her confession unprompted. Then I typed one last reply. Congratulations on your new journey. I wish you the best. Sent. Then I blocked her. Number. Instagram. Facebook. Snapchat. Everything. 30 seconds. She was gone. But that wasn't the end of it. Because Megan came from a very traditional family. Deeply religious. Her father, retired military, strict, big on values. The kind of man who shook your hand like it was a test. He liked me. Invited me to cookouts. Asked about my career. Definitely thought I was future son-in-law material. She'd always been terrified of disappointing him. And now she was pregnant. Out of wedlock. With another guy. While dating me. I opened a new message. Addressed to her father. Attached the screenshot. And typed. Sir, I thought you should see this. I'm sorry it had to come from me. Take care. I hit send. Put my phone on silent. And went back to work like I hadn't just dropped a grenade into someone else's life. That was the moment everything truly began. I underestimated the blast radius. I slept like a rock that night. No doom scrolling. No replaying texts. Just unconsciousness. Honestly, best sleep I'd had in weeks. Friday morning, I rolled over, grabbed my phone, and immediately thought it was broken. 97 notifications. 26 missed calls. 18 voicemails. All overnight. I didn't even open anything yet. Just stared at the screen like it might start smoking. Megan had gone full panic mode. She tried calling from her number first. Blocked. Then from a friend's phone. Then her mom's phone. Then a number with no contact name that was definitely not a scammer because the message read, "You are a horrible person. You ruined her life." Family had been informed. I finally listened to the voicemails. Her tone followed a very predictable arc. First few, crying, apologizing, begging. Please answer. We need to talk. I made a mistake. I didn't mean it like that. Then the switch flipped. You had no right. You're heartless. You destroyed everything. But the real whiplash came from the next 3 voicemails. Her father. First message, calm and measured. Alex, this is Megan's dad. I got your message. I need to confirm some things. Call me when you can. Second message, quieter. I spoke with my daughter. She confirmed it's true. I appreciate your honesty. This isn't your burden anymore. Third message, the one that actually hit me. You did the right thing. Focus on your life. Take care of yourself. No yelling. No threats. Just disappointment. Directed at her, not me. That felt strange. Comforting and heavy at the same time. By Friday afternoon, I finally skimmed the text chaos. Megan had apparently been confronted Thursday night. It did not go well. Turns out the guy she'd been seeing was a coworker. When her parents called him, yes, her parents, he hit them with the classic. Yeah, maybe it's mine. We hooked up a few times. But I'm not ready to be a dad. A timeless quote from history's greatest men. So now Megan was pregnant, single, exposed, and standing in front of a family that suddenly realized they didn't know their daughter as well as they thought. Her mom left me a voicemail too. Polite. Controlled. Surgical. We're disappointed in the situation, but we understand you were betrayed. Our daughter made her choices. We won't be contacting you again. Cold. Professional. Exactly what someone sounds like when they're quietly rearranging their entire understanding of their child. But Megan? She wasn't done. Friday night, another message, new number. You didn't have to tell my dad. You destroyed my relationship with my family. He cried. I hope you're happy. I stared at it for a long time. Then replied once. You destroyed those relationships by cheating and lying. I just told the truth. Do not contact me again. Blocked. I thought that would be the end. It wasn't even close. Sunday afternoon, 5 days after the texts, the story took a sharp turn. I got a message from an unexpected name. Lena. Megan's younger sister. 23. We'd always gotten along. She was the normal one in the family. Less rigid. More honest. The kind of person who listens before deciding who's wrong. Her message was simple. Hey, can we talk? I'm not trying to start drama. I just want to understand your side. I hesitated. Every instinct said don't get pulled back in. But something about her tone felt genuine. No accusations. No guilt trip. So I called her. She listened. Like actually listened. I told her everything from start to finish. The distance. The break text. The pregnancy confession. The screenshot. Why I told their dad. Why I blocked Megan. When I finished, there was a long pause on the line. Then she said quietly, Okay, that's what I thought. That sentence mattered. Then she dropped the bomb. Megan's been telling everyone a different story. Of course she had. According to Megan, I had forced her to confess. She claimed I'd suspected the pregnancy, pressured her, and threatened to tell their parents if she didn't admit it herself. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was insane. I have screenshots, I said. She volunteered everything. There's literally nothing from me in between. Lena exhaled hard. Can you send them to me? I did. Immediately. Both messages. 3-minute gap. Timestamps undeniable. She was silent again. Then, wow. She's straight up lying. My parents think you manipulated her. That's when it clicked. This wasn't damage control. This was a full reputation rewrite. She wasn't just trying to save face. She was trying to turn me into the villain so she didn't have to carry the weight of what she'd done. Lena promised to show their parents the screenshots. I told her to do whatever she thought was right. I was done engaging. I hung up feeling oddly calm. The truth was out there now. I didn't need to chase it. Then Tuesday night happened. 9:07 p.m. Someone started pounding on my apartment door. Not knocking. Pounding. I peeked through the peephole. Megan. Hair messy. Eyes wild. Crying and yelling at the same time. "You ruined my life!" she screamed. "Open the door!" I didn't. Neighbors started opening their doors. Someone yelled to keep it down. She kept pounding. 10 minutes later, 2 police officers walked up the stairs. She immediately flipped the script. "He's my boyfriend," she sobbed. "We had a fight. He locked me out." I opened the door, calm as ice. "Officers," I said, "we broke up last week after she told me she's pregnant with another man's child. She does not live here. Never has." I showed them the lease. Only my name. Then the texts. One officer glanced at her, unimpressed. "Ma'am, you need to leave. This isn't your residence." "But my stuff is here," she cried. I went inside, grabbed the bag I'd already packed, clothes, toiletries, random items, and handed it over. She frantically dug through it. "Where's my iPad?" "You never brought an iPad here." "Yes, I did." "You're keeping it to be spiteful." One officer sighed. "Do you have proof you own an iPad and left it here?" She didn't. Because it never existed. They escorted her out, warning her not to return or she'd be charged with trespassing. As she was being walked away, she shouted, "You're going to regret this. My family has lawyers." One cop muttered under his breath, "Everyone's got lawyers." After they left, I filed a report anyway. Paper trail. That night, I realized something important. This wasn't about heartbreak anymore. This was about self-preservation. Wednesday morning, I accidentally answered a call I shouldn't have. Unknown number. I was half awake. Muscle memory betrayed me. It was Megan's mom. Her voice was calm, controlled, tired in a way only parents sound when they're carrying disappointment they can't set down. "I know you don't want to hear from us," she said, "but we need to discuss the situation." I didn't raise my voice. Didn't argue. "Ma'am," I replied, "your daughter told me she cheated and that she's pregnant with someone else's child. What exactly is there to discuss?" Silence. Then she sighed. "She's still carrying a baby. She needs support. Her father and we're trying to navigate this according to our faith." "That's between you and her," I said. "I'm not involved anymore." She hesitated. "The young man she was seeing isn't returning our calls. He's denying the baby might be his. Still not my problem." "She made choices?" I said. "Multiple ones. I'm sorry she's scared, but the consequences belong to her." Another long pause. Then something shifted in her voice. "You're right," she said quietly. "I raised her better than this. But she's an adult. This is on her." She thanked me. For being honest. For being respectful. For not escalating things further. Then she hung up. I stood there staring at my phone, feeling weirdly sad for her. That call wasn't about fixing anything. It was about a mother realizing she couldn't protect her child from the fallout anymore. Friday evening, exactly 1 week after the first text, her father called. I answered. "Son," he said, "just wanted you to know we showed everyone the real messages." My stomach tightened. Her version didn't match reality. He continued. "Her mother and I are holding her accountable. She's moving back home. Preparing for the baby." I nodded even though he couldn't see me. The other young man finally admitted it could be his. He said, "Wants a paternity test." "Figures. Family's in chaos," he finished. "But it's her chaos. Not yours." I thanked him. He paused before hanging up. "You handled this with integrity," he said. "I wish my daughter had done the same." When the call ended, I sat on my couch for a long time. That was the validation I didn't know I needed. Not from friends. Not from strangers. From the one person who could have hated me, and didn't. I thought the storm had passed. I was wrong again. The desperation phase kicked in around week 2. That's when logic leaves the room and chaos starts freelancing. It began with a new Instagram account. No photo. Random username. 0 followers. One long DM waiting for me when I opened the app. I already knew it was her. The message was impressive. Olympic-level mental gymnastics. She said the baby might actually be mine. That she'd done the math wrong. That stress had confused her. That we should talk like adults. And maybe try again for the baby. For a solid 10 seconds, I wondered if I was being pranked. Then I remembered this was the same person who had lied to her parents, her friends, and apparently herself. I didn't respond. I screenshot it and sent it to Lena, her sister, with one line. Just so you know, she's now lying about the baby's paternity. Lena replied almost immediately. She's seeing a therapist. I'll show this to my mom. Blocked the fake account. 3 days later, she tried something even more unhinged. She sent me a LinkedIn connection request. LinkedIn. Nothing says. Let's reconcile. Like a professional networking platform. I declined. Blocked her there too. Then, because the universe apparently wanted one final plot twist, the coworker showed up. The baby's father. He messaged me on Facebook. Hey man. Sorry about everything. Megan said you two were basically done? I didn't know the full situation. I'm stepping up if the kid's mine. Just wanted to clear the air. I stared at the screen in disbelief. This guy helped nuke my relationship, got my girlfriend pregnant, denied responsibility, disappeared, and now wanted to clear the air. I replied with exactly one sentence. Do not contact me again. Blocked. That was all the energy he deserved. Through Lena, who kept updating me even though I never asked, I learned how everything landed. Megan moved back in with her parents. Working from home because she was too embarrassed to face coworkers. Her dad barely spoke to her. Her mom was supportive about the baby, but distant. The paternity test came back. Not mine. It was his. The guy panicked. He was 25, lived with roommates, made mediocre money, and suddenly realized consequences exist. He offered child support. Nothing more. Megan was crushed. She thought he'd step up and play family. Turns out fantasies don't sign birth certificates. Her friend group mostly vanished. Word got around. People didn't love how she handled literally everything. One of her former friends told Lena something that stuck with me. Alex was the best guy she ever dated. She threw him away for trash. I didn't feel victorious hearing that. Just tired. And very, very done. By week 3, things finally started slowing down, on the outside, at least. Internally, I was still unpacking everything. I went to therapy. Not because I was falling apart, but because I didn't want to pretend I was fine when I wasn't. Betrayal does this weird thing where it sneaks up on you later, when the adrenaline wears off. First session, the therapist asked, "What are you feeling right now?" I thought about it for a second and said, "Relief. And guilt. Which doesn't make sense." We talked through that guilt. The screenshot. Telling her father. Whether I'd crossed a line. Here's what I realized out loud. If I'd stayed silent, she would have lied. She already was lying. And I would have been painted as the guy who abandoned a pregnant girlfriend for no reason. I didn't create the truth. I just refused to carry it for her. Once I accepted that, something loosened in my chest. Life got quieter after that. No more random numbers. No more fake accounts. No more drama showing up at my door. I started reclaiming my time. I fixed up my apartment, got rid of the stuff we picked out together. Bought furniture I liked. Picked up hobbies I'd dropped because relationships slowly consume your calendar if you're not careful. Friends noticed the change. "You seem lighter," one of them said over drinks. I was. Then, 2 days ago, it happened. One final message. Another unknown number. I already knew who it was before opening it. "I know you probably hate me. I just want you to know I'm sorry for everything. You deserve better. The baby's due in November. It's a girl." No manipulation. No blame. No excuses. Just an apology. I read it once. Didn't respond. Blocked the number. Not out of anger. Out of closure. People keep asking me the same question. "Do you regret telling her, Dad?" Every time, I pause, not because I'm unsure, but because the answer is so clear it almost surprises me. No. Not even a little. If I'd walked away quietly, Megan would have controlled the narrative. She would have been the abandoned, scared, pregnant girlfriend. I would have been the guy who couldn't handle responsibility. She already tried to rewrite the story. I just got there first with the truth. And here's the part people don't talk about enough. Lying isn't just self-protection. It's harm. It shifts consequences onto someone else. I refused to carry consequences that weren't mine. Her father's respect mattered to me, not because I needed his approval, but because it confirmed something important. I hadn't acted out of spite. I'd acted out of integrity. That distinction matters. Since then, I've felt something I didn't expect. Indifference. Not hatred. Not bitterness. Just emotional neutrality. She's not the villain of my story anymore. She's just a person who made bad choices and has to live with them. I don't wish her harm. I don't wish her happiness either. I just don't wish. And that's freedom. 3 months from now, she'll be raising a child. Navigating a life she didn't plan the way she imagined. 3 months from now, I'll be living my life, probably not thinking about her at all. That's not revenge. That's moving on. The last thing she ever sent me sits in my blocked messages folder, unread now, untouched. An apology doesn't erase choices. Regret doesn't rewind time. And a baby, no matter how innocent, doesn't obligate someone who was betrayed to stay. That's the truth people dance around. I don't hate Megan. Hate takes energy. I don't give her that much space in my life anymore. She's someone I used to love who showed me, very clearly, who she really was before I made the mistake of marrying her or building a life on a lie. That's not a tragedy. That's a warning I actually heard. I found out before it cost me more years, more trust, more of myself. And for that I'm grateful. The chaos that followed wasn't my doing. Every single explosion came from one source, her choices. I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. I didn't manipulate. I didn't threaten. I told the truth, and then I walked away. If that makes me the villain in her version of the story, so be it. I don't live there anymore. I live here. In a quiet apartment. With peace. With clarity. With the knowledge that when everything went sideways, I handled myself with restraint, dignity, and self-respect. That matters. To anyone reading this who's standing at the edge of something similar, trust your instincts. Protect your boundaries. Don't let anyone convince you that honesty is cruelty, or that self-respect is selfishness. Walking away isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the strongest move you can make. That's the end of the story. And honestly, it feels really good to close the book.